Well, hello everyone, and here's a special episode of Impact Makers where we have a special guest. So two specials there. So hopefully everybody gets pays extra attention here. But really, what we wanted to do is bring Guy Gage into an interesting conversation that we've been having with respect to whether you call it visioning, strategic planning, all that initiatives that the partners go through or the firms go through to set objectives for the future. And we decided to bring Guy into the mix because we just had a really good conversation and had an outcome of a concept that we wanted to share with all of you, and that is the theory or the concept of a vision funnel. And so when we talk about that, there's more layers to it. So I'm gonna let Dustin and Guy kind of unpack that together, because collaboratively we end up in a really good spot with what this vision funnel is. So Dustin, why don't you tell the viewers a little bit of background of what the funnel is, and then we can toss it over to Guy and he can kind of hit home some important points that he's seen in his work with clients.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this episode, and Guy and us have been talking for a few months now about our different strategies when we do visioning and planning with firms, and how they overlap, and how it's a bit unique compared to some of the scattered approaches that we have historically seen in the profession and what CPA firms have historically done. And it's a system that's been working out pretty well. Essentially what it is you can think of either an inverted triangle or a funnel, and at the top of that, and what starts the flow through the process is developing a firm-wide vision, a vision 3 to 5 years out in the future of what you truly want your firm to become. From that point, it's often overlooked. You should have some type of niche or segment vision that is part of that as well, that flows down from the firm vision. Some firms, might just start with segment or totally skip it altogether, but there should be a segment vision as well that comes out of the firm vision. Then as we get down to the next layer, each segment, each niche, as part of that firm vision, should be developing some annual objectives and or initiatives that they want to undertake to make progress toward that multi-year vision. And those annual initiatives aren't just something that you look at once a year. Really, it should be something that you strive for throughout the year. So we like to break those down even further into quarterly tactics. We can't just wait. We can't just batch and say, we're going to do all of this in November and December, because that's not going to happen. Let's be honest, right? And so the layer down from the annual initiatives and objectives would be quarterly tactics to achieve our objectives. And then ultimately, at the end of the funnel, we want to make sure that as a firm, everyone at every level understands how their daily execution ties into that long-term firm vision. So it's starting with a 3 to 5 year paint the vision of the future, and ultimately boil it down to part of our firm culture is everyone at every level understands how their contribution on a daily basis in a small way contributes to where we want to be 3 to 5 years in the future.
And so, Guy, what would you add to that from a conceptual standpoint, and maybe touch upon where you've seen organizations, CPA firms that you work with, succeed, and maybe where they stub their toe a little bit when you frame it up in the funnel context.
Yeah, the thing I like about the model itself is it drives what I call alignment from where we want to go all the way down to what I'm doing today to help get us there. And so as you kind of work your way down the funnel, as Dustin described, it always answers the question how. So we start off with this big visionary notion of we want to be a firm that looks like this and behaves this way and attracts this kind of a client and this kind of a staff, for instance, whatever is in the mix for what your vision is. And the first question you should ask yourself is, how are we going to do that? Well, we break it down into, as you said, Dustin, segments, because it's going to vary depending on what that segment looks like. Bring it down. How are we going to do that? Bring it down into goals and objectives. And you work your way all the way down to the specific activities, behaviors, work that individuals are doing that all feed into answering that how question. And to the degree that those are aligned and everyone is on the same page, then to switch the metaphor, we have everyone rowing in the same direction in cadence. And it starts to make sense. And so it almost kind of is one of those things that alleviate some of the siloing that happens in firms. Because even though we might be doing our own thing, we're doing our own thing toward a similar goal. And so you kind of have a natural collaborative effort going on that's built into it. And so I think anytime that a firm is struggling or has been struggling over the years to have a significant, effective strategic planning initiative, typically what I'll do is apply that model and see where the breakdown in alignment is. And inevitably, it becomes very obvious to everyone once you break it down that way, where it gets fractured.
There you have it. I was muted there. There you have it. It's a vision funnel. We're going to unpack this a little more in some future episodes, but just wanted to give you a baseline of this and know that there's more to your firm's vision than just getting together and setting up those objectives. I mean, it's more powerful, as I hope you heard in listening to Dustin and Guy today. It's more powerful when you can get that down to the daily execution level, where we know that we're, to coin or to piggyback on, Guy's second metaphor there, rowing in the same direction. And when we do that on a daily basis, we're in a lot better shape to achieve the overall objectives. So Guy, great to have you, and looking forward to having you in a couple more of these sessions. So until the next time, thanks everybody.